I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people just like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Earlier on the show today, we had Mary McDougall, and I said she is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Well, guess what? There's another one. I just met her, and I have a feeling that she is another one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She has an incredible story of losing over 70 pounds eating plants. She has a blog and a YouTube channel, a lot of amazing recipes, and today she is going to be making a vegan version of a, hope I say this right, charcuterie board. Please welcome to the show, Brittany Jaroudi. Thanks for being here. You are adorable and you don't look old enough to be on YouTube.
Thank you. So excited to be here, and it's such an honor.
Oh, you thank you so much. And thank you for reaching out to me.
I'm so excited to. Of course, yeah. I mean, all of the amazing interviews you've been doing I've been watching all of them too, and it's been learning so much about so many people doing amazing things in the plant-based community.
Great. Well, thank you. And and you are one of them. And so whatever you want to do first, Brittany, if you want to start the recipe or tell your story or do it at the same time. So let us get to know Brittany Jaroudi.
Yeah, we could do a little bit of both. So I started my plant-based journey a little over 4.5 years ago now, and it really has changed my life completely, which put me on this passion to share that with everyone and to start my own YouTube channel and just to share out really the amazing benefits that a plant-based diet has done in my life. And it's a completely different life than even 5 years ago. And I just love the food so much and have so much fun and feel like this is such a wonderful way of eating, and I just want to share it with everyone. So we're going to make the boards today, and we're going to make a breakfast charcuterie board. And I like this because really, if you're having, if after pandemic, if you're having guests over, or if you want to make breakfast for your family really special, if you have some family members that aren't plant-based, this is a really beautiful way of presenting the food and making it fun and interesting. And one of the ways on our channel is that I always try to make recipes that are similar to recipes I had before being whole food plant-based, that are still delicious and wonderful and are good for you. So I have a lot of things already set up, but we are going to make 2 recipes today, and then we're going to assemble the board. So we're going to make our breakfast cookies, which are so easy. It's really 2 ingredients, and I already have them made today. And they're just oats and bananas, and then you can tweak it to whatever you like. So I have some pumpkin pie spice because I'm kind of getting into the fall mood here in Pittsburgh. It's a little chilly today. So we're going to put some pumpkin spice in there, but they're so easy and they're so much fun to put on the board. So I'm just grabbing a bowl. I have some rolled oats, and I'm going to put in around 1 cup of rolled oats to 2 bananas. And I have this recipe on our channel. And then you can add whatever you like. You can add dates, raisins. You can leave it the way it is. You can add spices. And so really we're just making these adorable little cookies that you can travel with or present on your board. And they're great for kids and the whole family. So they can be breakfast on the go or like more of a dessert. So it's just oats and bananas. Can't get any simpler.
It's amazing how
I like to get the bananas very ripe.
It's amazing how many things can be made out of just oats and bananas, isn't it?
I know, it's endless. And then I just take a fork and I just mash it all together, and you just mash it until it's all incorporated. You can add your spices, and then you can form the cookies as big or small as you want. Bake them in the oven at 350 for around 20 minutes, and they come out beautiful. They hold up together really well. You can travel, like I said, with them. So that's just a really simple breakfast or dessert, or you can add it to your board, which we're going to do today. And when I do our boards, I like to just I have a cutting board that I just use for presenting. And so this is mine here. It's a pretty large board. And I just like to find whichever one's beautiful that you like. You can do lots of different sizes. And like I said, it's going to be more breakfast themed today. And so I just play around. So I have some of the cookies already done that I did before this. So I'll put them in the corner. And then I'm also going to make a tofu scramble today. which is another thing that goes over really well with people if you're plant-based or not. And it's pretty easy to make. So I have that set up. But before we get into it, I'll just go into a couple other things I made. I made some roasted potatoes. Again, stuff that everyone loves. I got the little baby potatoes, all different colors. They're very eye-catching. And then I just use different bowls of all different sizes that I've thrifted or have collected over the years. And you can just kind of place them to whatever is appealing to your eye. So I have some steel cut oats as well. You can make a whole oatmeal board, which would be a lot of fun with oat groats and steel cut oats and rolled oats, whatever your guests like. And then all the kind of toppings you want to put for it. So for oatmeal, I thought a lot of, fruit is nice in it. And then all different colors. So I have some blueberries that are very appealing. I have some grapes as well. So I went with green grapes. And then I went with some strawberries. So already I'm, all the colors of the rainbow. And really that's what will make your kids love this. That'll make your guests love it because it's so appealing. And then you can have fun with it too. So I also have the potatoes. So I put some ketchup in a little serving dish. And I also put some pesto. We have some pesto that we made with even a white bean that I put here as well. And you can kind of play around with all of it. And then you can have a separate board with maybe some of the savory things like your tofu. And what I love about being plant-based is that I get a lot of questions about, do you feel deprived or do you feel that you're missing out on anything? And I feel like I am so spoiled with all the amazing flavors and recipes and food that it's so much fun. And just, I don't know, it's just a whole new way of eating that I never feel deprived. I feel like a lot of people that have been plant-based for a while kind of have that same eye-opening experience, that there's foods I've never tried before in my whole life, like all the different kinds of sweet potatoes. And now it's, there's not a week that goes by that I can't have that because I love it so much. So I just have a pan and I have some extra firm tofu, and this is so easy that I don't really do anything to it. I just cut it and drain the water from the packet, and I don't press it or anything. And you don't have to be real particular with it, but just drain most of it. And then I just crumble it into my pan and add my seasonings. And it's that easy. So it doesn't have to be intimidating. That's another thing too, is that people always ask me about being plant-based and feeling overwhelmed or not sure where to start. And I just start with easy recipes that are simple, they taste good, they're filling, and are practical to make at home. So I just take the tofu block with clean hands, and you can kind of just crumble it out and then add your spices and cook it. And that's really such an easy brunch or breakfast idea. And you can add greens in on the side. Sometimes we'll do some wilted spinach when we serve. And then it's kind of like build your own. And you can do this with any type of ethnic food. We've done sushi kind of boards like this where you do make your own sushi bowls, or a Mexican themed night. And your guests have a lot of fun. They get introduced to a lot of simple recipes, and it just makes for a beautiful display. Let me wash my hands. All right, so the tofu is in there, and now I'm just going to add my seasonings. And in here, I just like to do a little bit of turmeric, enough to give it a little bit of color where it kind of reminds you of the egg color. I have some black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and smoked paprika. Very simple. And that's it. It's so easy. And then I just go ahead and cook it on medium-high heat. Stir everything together. And then you'll see that the turmeric really makes it kind of resemble the same color as eggs, because that's what you're replacing for your breakfast for your guests. And some people don't even know that it's not eggs, it's actually tofu.
Diane wants to know if you have a book.
I don't. I would love to do one, and it's definitely on my goal list, but I don't right now. So I actually work full time as a middle school art teacher, and then YouTube and making recipes and helping people is just a passion of mine that I pretty much spend all of my extra spare time doing.
What kind of art do you teach?
So I teach middle school art, so 7th and 8th graders.
But I mean, like,
and I actually teach for a cyber school. So so all different types of, we do a little bit of everything from painting to clay work to drawing. So a little bit of everything. It's more of a course that touches on all different types of art history and everything like that.
So you mean you were teaching virtually even before the pandemic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've been teaching at a cyber school. This will be my 6th year of teaching, and I was teaching at a cyber school before. So luckily for me, my work day hadn't changed, and this school year looks the same. But it's been very interesting to help all of my other teacher friends teach.
I didn't even realize they had cyber schools. So then I guess that's where they get cyber bullies.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Well,
That's
you can illustrate your own book when you do have one.
Yeah, I would love. That's definitely on my wish list to do.
So do your students know that you have do your students know that you have a YouTube channel, and do they watch it?
Some of them find me, I think, because we named our channel the Jaroudi family with my last name. I think a lot of students will go on and Google their teachers now. So I do get some of my students, and actually someone that was in the younger grades, I think a 4th grader, their parents actually watched me and were plant-based. So then they reached out and they thought it was so cool that they found out that I actually would have their kid in a few years. So that was really neat. And they live in Philadelphia. So that was really interesting.
As an art teacher, or just a teacher in general, you're not probably allowed to like promote this to your students?
Yeah, I generally don't. If they find me, I'm happy. But I actually help run the cooking club at our school. So while the students will cook all different types of meals, I always try to get in there and put something plant-based, just to kind of plant the seed a little bit for them.
All right, nice.
You know, never too early. That's the other thing too with my channel, is that I want to help younger people too, that my health was so bad at 23. It's never too early to really care before you go into a health crisis when you get older, to start now and then to continue and help your family to grow and be healthier together. So I'm very lucky. I have a husband who's very supportive and jumped on being whole food plant-based with me about 6 months after I started. And so together we plan to do this for the rest of our life, and have both seen huge health benefits from it.
What kind of health challenge? You know, my health didn't really take a turn until I was 43. Even though I was obese, I didn't really have like anything wrong until I started bleeding and had precancerous polyps. What happened at 23 that your health was so bad that you decided to make a change?
So my story, I think, kind of surprises people. I was overweight. I was probably around 185 pounds at my heaviest, maybe 190. And I'm very short. Everyone's very surprised in real life. I'm only 4'11". So I have a very small, petite frame. So I was obese. I've never been this weight ever in my life now. I've always been on the heavier side. So, but I was still active. I played soccer in school and, like to move and stuff. But when I got married and moved out of my parents' house, I got a blood test taken through my husband's insurance. And I had high cholesterol. My cholesterol total was 242. I had high blood pressure. My blood pressure was so high, I was on 2 different medications by my doctor. So my blood pressure was around 150 over 94. So I was on, like I said, 2 different blood pressure medications. I had my CRP test taken, my C-reactive protein, which I never had heard of that before. And I don't think your doctors test you for it, but it's a marker of inflammation and kind of a precursor for if you get heart disease. And mine was 16 and the normal was under 3. And so I also had chest pain and anxiety and just felt lousy. And so at 23, I started to kind of panic because I grew up in a household that had lots of health issues. My dad was diabetic, had open heart surgery when I was in elementary school, had a defibrillator put in, and had a host of issues and countless stints. And then my mom also battled cancer a few times in her life. And so I had uncles and aunts that also had issues. So I just kind of got really, really nervous about my future and not wanting to go in that same direction. So I actually watched Forks Over Knives while doing my research. And in Forks Over Knives, they have the director's blood taken and everything like that. And he had his CRP test taken, and my numbers were so much worse than his at 23 that it just, right then and there, I decided to go plant-based. And that was the day before Easter in 2016. So I showed up to Easter and told my family I can't have ham, and that I was doing this for myself. And I just started doing all of the research and found Dr. McDougall, Dr. Greger. I just read the China study instantly at that point and just kind of became a sponge for how do I lower the inflammation in my body and really get my health back. And it has made a huge difference. I didn't focus on the weight loss. I focused on just getting all of my numbers down, but being so overweight, obviously that had an indicator on my health. And just by adopting an SOS-free, whole food plant-based lifestyle that's oil-free, it helped me lose over 70 pounds, and I'm not on any medication now and feel amazing. My C-reactive protein is low. It's way under what 3 is, and it's just like given me a whole new life. I can't even describe. And so I'm just so passionate to share that with everyone that I meet, and it's just done such amazing things for me.
What has your family said, since it's now been, a few Easters since you haven't eaten ham?
Yeah, I think my husband definitely is on board with me. So at about 6 months after, we watched all the documentaries together. I showed him all the information. He read the books with me, and he jumped on board. And so I've also got my little brother to also start being whole food plant-based, because he also has some blood pressure issues, and he's younger than I am. But for the rest of my family, everyone is very supportive, but not interested in doing it themselves. So it's been, challenging, just like anyone else that really is doing this, but we're doing it for our health. And I put the information out there and the recipes, and we bring stuff when we have family gatherings to help share and try to help others. But I think they can generally see with their eyes how much of a difference it's made in my life.
That's funny. Supportive, but not interested.
Yeah. And then we, a few years ago, my mom got diagnosed with cancer again. And so I was trying to get her to go more this direction, and she was open to it, but then she passed away last year. So it's been a battle for, it's hard watching family members suffer through, and you just want to help everyone. I feel like when you figure it out.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about your mom.
Thanks.
So there's a question, were there any particular books that inspired you the most? I know you said that your point of entry was Forks Over Knives, which was a point of entry for many people.
Yeah, so after I saw that, I got the China study and read that right away, because cancer was a big concern of mine from my mom's history. And so I devoured that book, and then I got Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease as well, because those two doctors are so prevalent in Forks Over Knives that I just wanted all the information. And then from there, I found out about Dr. Greger and read How Not to Die. So I think those 3 were the big pillars for me in figuring out how to eat, what to eat, and putting it into my life pretty easily.
Were you a good cook before this? Because I don't know if I think you watched the interview with Mary McDougall, and she said she was a horrible cook. Her mom never taught her. So was it fairly easy to transfer your skills to a plant-based diet?
I didn't cook at all before this, which I think is really surprising when when you're developing recipes and you talk to people like Mary McDougall that didn't cook, I was the person that would have bought the sauce packets that were pre-made and like dumped it over chicken or whatever, and that would have been dinner. Through trying to figure out how to make recipes that are different than what I'm used to, like tofu, or how to make your oats in the morning, it just has opened my eyes. And I would spend every day, all day in the kitchen if possible. And it's been so much fun. I think that's the big thing, is that it's a different type of art. And so while I love traditional art, like this is all art to me as well. And I just have the best time.
Yeah, nice. Yep. Well, presentation is very important. Get people to eat plants. Deanne says her chocolate pudding and fudgicle recipes are great. My family have enjoyed these foods, both with sweet potato.
Yeah, and I love any type of sweet. We have tons of different ones that I've never heard before. And so I love the Japanese sweet potato and all the different varieties. It's just stuff I've never ate before. I never ate dates before. I've never tried so many different foods, all the vegetable. Bok choy is one of my favorites that I could eat every day. And so it's just been really interesting at this time in my life, discovering all these different new foods that I haven't had my entire growing up and adolescence.
So what did a typical day's worth of eating look like for you 70 pounds ago, and what does it look like now?
70 pounds ago, it would have been some kind of egg and I would have thought I was doing the healthy thing. It would have been some kind of egg with cheese, and I would have been scared to death to eat potatoes. It would have been some kind of chicken and rice dish probably for lunch. And I would say, one of those packets with some kind of pork or different kind of thing like that for dinner, but like very little vegetables, very little starch. And now it's, I love making my meals about starch and all the different things. So now it's oatmeal. I eat oatmeal almost every day. And I love the different types of oatmeal. So I'll do steel cut oats, or I'll do oat groats. Even rolled oats with non-dairy milk, kind of like a cold cereal when we go camping, is really easy. And during lunch, I have big giant salads now. I used to hate salads, and now doing kind of like the chopped salads that I know that you say that you eat every day has just been something I crave now. And so I'll put potatoes in that, or sweet potatoes, or rice, or some kind of whole grain mixed in with beans. I've never eaten so many beans in my life and have thoroughly enjoyed it. And so it's just been, it's kind of night and day with eating. I used to be carb-phobic and thought, this is why I'm heavy, because I love pasta and I love potatoes. And I would have never guessed in a million years that eating these foods would have helped lower my inflammation and get a healthy cholesterol and get off blood pressure medicine and help me get to a healthy BMI, which I had never been.
Isn't it fun though, when you are smaller, if you've been bigger?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that for my height, it's just, I think it's just been a weight that I've never seen, even in middle school. And it's just how much better I feel. I used to hate walking up hills to go around our neighborhood. And now like we go mountain climbing on vacation, and it's just night and day from what I've been. And you just feel not only being at a healthy BMI, but I just feel so much better. It's just pretty remarkable. And the only thing I've done is change the way I eat.
Now, that's fantastic. BJ is saying she loved your Italian cooking class that she did last month. Talk about your classes.
Yeah, so I offer private classes once a month just to help inspire people. It helps me get on kind of like this and talk one-on-one, because while I do YouTube, the classes are a lot of fun because it lets me cook alongside people. So I send out recipes beforehand, and then we all get into a Zoom room and I can see them and they can cook if they'd like to. And then we can kind of test out things, because a lot of the times too, people will write that a recipe didn't work a certain way. So it lets me kind of answer any questions and help while we're cooking as well. So we always do a themed class. That's a lot of fun.
Lisa says your lemon squares are the best.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with the desserts as well. There's so many recipes you can make with a Japanese sweet potato that I would have never thought.
I feel so bad.
And that's one of them.
Yeah, I feel so bad when people say they can't get the Hannah yams or the Japanese. It's like, those are that's my favorite food.
Me too. It's always in our shopping cart, and we have luckily 2 places here in Pittsburgh that offer it. So I feel very lucky.
Yep. Yeah. So how's the tofu doing?
So it's done, and I just thrift little bowls and dishes that are a lot of fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just kind of laying out with what you have, and then it's a beautiful yellow color. And then again, people can put ketchup or the pesto on it if they'd like. It's kind of a build your own plate. You can put this in the center of your table, and it's just eating with your eyes again. I feel like when people come over, or if you're bringing a dish somewhere, presentation really is so key with getting people interested in this. It should taste good. It should look good. That really is so important. So I also have some toppings for this. So I have some cherry tomatoes that I've diced. I have some different color bell peppers that you can put in, some red onions. And then I like to do something sweet around too, besides the fruit. So you could take a date. It's so easy just to add this on there too, deep hit it, and then you can just put the date halved on the board, which makes it a little fancy too, I feel like. And then if you have fresh mint or any other herbs you'd like to use, that's another way of like adding in an extra little bit of color, maybe to the blueberries. And it's so easy. It's so simple. Like I said, you can change up the boards with whatever you're serving and make it so much fun for your guests. And I like to do this too, like Sunday mornings, you could do pancakes and waffles. You could do all different kind of oats and do peaches and do ground flax seeds or chia seeds, and really make this such an exciting way to eat and something special. So I always get really great feedback from family members when we've done this in the past, and it's so much fun. So I will bring this up close so you guys can see it. Might take off some cookies to make room for our... And there's no wrong way of doing this either. You can go on Pinterest and find a million ideas, and anything that is not plant-based, you can make plant-based, which is something else I think people struggle with, is that you can do a pizza board. There are endless amounts of possibilities. So you have this beautiful, colorful spread that you can take. You guys can see. And it looks really fancy. It takes no time to make. You're literally just putting things in different sizes bowls. You can put the fruit directly on the plate. And it's just a great way to get your family involved or people that you're having over. And it feels really elegant and fancy without any of the trouble. And I just love it. It's just a great way of presenting whole food, plant-based, oil-free to people that makes it doable and special and attainable and delicious. And so we just have so much fun. I would make one of these all the time if I could.
Well, it almost looks like you just take it for your husband for breakfast in bed. Just bring it over.
Well, he will be very happy after this, because he definitely is going to jump in. I told him he had to wait till the interview was done before he dived in. But
well, we'd love to meet. If he'd like to come by, we'd love to meet him. There's so many questions in the chat. So let me get started, okay? Because people think you're adorable and have lots of questions. Allison says, how long did it take you to lose the 70 pounds?
So it took me around 2 years to lose, and I wasn't super focused on weight loss. I just really wanted that inflammation CRP number to go from 16 down to 3. That was really scary for me, and my cholesterol and blood pressure. So I at first when I started, I didn't really, I was still kind of figuring out what plan I wanted to go to, and kind of dabbling between it. So I was just eating a lot of plants, eating a lot of different plants. And then when I figured out the Daily Dozen from Dr. Michael Greger, I really started to see the weight loss come off more. And I was able to use the app and check everything off every day. And that's really helped me. But again, I plan to do this for the rest of my life because I want to be in good health forever. And so, that was the mindset of me. I wasn't super stressed out if my weight wasn't coming. And then too, that I have always been heavy my entire life. I think people want instant results. It took me a long time to get up to 185 and 190. And so I gave my body, I wasn't stressed out about losing the weight really quickly. I wanted to give my body enough time to do its thing. So it took about around 2 years. And then after that, I decided to jump on YouTube and make a website and to help people, because it just, like I said, completely has changed. It's a 180 from what my life was 5 years ago.
That's beautiful. Renee says, what is your favorite food?
Oh, I don't even know. I love all food. I don't even know. I enjoy so much variety. So I guess it would depend on what type. Oats are probably one of my favorite grains, especially oat groats. I feel like a lot of people haven't tried the whole form of oats, and it's fantastic. We make it in our Instant Pot. So oat groats for breakfast, definitely. Baby bok choy or bok choy is my favorite vegetable lately. And I just love discovering new things. I'm so more adventurous with picking up like different vegetables that like jicama that I've never tried before, or artichokes that I wasn't really introduced to before doing that, and making them from fresh. And so I don't know, I'm just such a foodie. I love it all.
Have you tried the jicama wraps?
They don't have them here in Pittsburgh. I'm so jealous of all you guys that have access to them. I've went to I've called every Trader Joe's, and they're not doing it on the East, they told me.
Oh, I'm sorry, because they're
but
so good.
I do plan to I'm trying to figure out a way of making my own, but I think it's hard because you would need some kind of mandolin that's big to make them.
So yesterday on the show, Chef Rachel Carr said they do sell like a bigger mandolin to do that. Or if you had, a meat, like what they use in the deli for meat, that works as well.
Yeah, I would love to. That would be so amazing to go to Trader Joe's and just pick it up, but they don't have it here, unfortunately.
It's fun because
the East is always a little bit slower.
One of the ways I enjoy my big chopped salads every day is I mix it up, and then I make little tacos from my salad. They're so fun.
Yeah, if I ever get out your way, that's definitely on my list to try.
Nice. I think some people might have tuned in late, but they said, did you like to cook before? It sounded like you didn't really cook before.
I didn't. I really was very novice at everything. I really would buy all the pre-made stuff, even like the frozen meals. I wasn't really interested in, I would, coat my pan with olive oil and be able to saute stuff, but that was the extent of it. So it really has become such a great learning experience. And now I have so much fun. I couldn't imagine not cooking all the time.
Nice. Let's see. Look at the question. People are asking if you have kids, and people are saying you don't right now, but you kind of do all your students.
Yeah, we don't have a family yet, just me and my husband, but that's something that we are planning to do in the future. And I'm so happy that I figured out how to be whole food plant-based even before, because I feel like it's just a great opportunity to raise our kids as healthy as possible. So it's really a gift. I always feel that my health struggle was such a gift because this is the reason I found out about it and did my homework and a lot of research on it. And so it's such a gift to be able to give our future kids, if we have them, the same opportunity. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that. So it's something that we're definitely looking forward to.
Elmo says, what is the name of the stovetop cookware that you're using?
This one, we got this for when we go camping. It's Eisler. We got off Amazon. I don't think it was very expensive. And I got it for, I also help run Plant-Based Pittsburgh. So if any of my Plant-Based Pittsburgh group is watching, I'll give them a little shout out. So we are part of the Plant Pure Communities pods here in Pittsburgh, and we have 4 groups all over Pittsburgh, and I help co-lead them. And so we do free cooking classes also in our community and different educational workshops. So that's also another thing I do on my spare time, trying to get as many people the information about being plant-based and making it doable as well.
Nice. Sarah says, I like your comment that you made about not imagining being able to eat carbs and lose weight. I feel the same way, even though I'm at the beginning of my journey. What advice do you have for someone starting off who is new to this way of eating? Great question, Sarah.
I think you should obviously watch Chef AJ's videos and watch Dr. McDougall as well. They definitely will talk about the science between calorie density and about weight loss with specifically potatoes as well, as that it's super satisfying and filling. And so I think after I did all of my research on even like the blue zones and what that different communities were eating, and it's more of what you're putting on the potatoes, like the sour cream and the cheese and butter. It's not the potato. That really helped me to open my eyes. And I am so happy I get to eat potatoes and rice and all the other amazing whole grains. I couldn't imagine not having those things.
Right. Well, Dr. Lyle
I'm much happier for it.
If they're worried, do an experiment for 2 or 3 weeks, like he says, Dr. Lyle, and you'll see carbs don't make you fat. Fat's what makes you fat. Carbs make you thin. And people, even on the Dr. McDougall broadcast earlier, people were saying, they were so afraid to eat starch. But if that was true, they wouldn't, it's like what he said, they wouldn't be that weight. They didn't get that weight from eating unadulterated potatoes, rice, and beans.
Right. And I can tell you, I've never eaten so many potatoes and rice.
Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to be able to eat?
I'm the thinnest I've ever been.
Right. Isn't it fun to be able to eat all this food? I love it. It's
so,
like every day is Christmas now.
So much fun.
Yep.
That's how I feel. I'm always excited about what I'm having.
Yeah. Heidi says, does Brittany meditate? How does she do so much yet manage to stay so calm?
So I don't really talk about this on my channel, but I do try to meditate just for my own. Again, I lost my mom last year and I was her caregiver for like 2 or 3 years before that. And so it is very stressful. And so I learned Transcendental Meditation, which is a type of meditation. So not that I do it every week or every day, but that is something that I try to put in as a good habit, as well as get enough sleep and exercise, as well as eat delicious food.
Right.
I feel like it all helps.
Yeah. Pauline says, talk about a camping weekend you're planning for your followers.
Yeah, so we actually right before the pandemic started, we bought a camper. So we've been going camping on the weekends, social distancing from people, and it's just been so much fun to make quick and easy things like the oatmeal cookies, or even we make like a chickpea salad recipe that I make ahead of time, and we just add hummus as a dressing. So I love it. We just have so much fun being outside and being able to bring all the food, and even making like our whole food plant-based burger recipe and cooking it. And then you can have a burger as well when you're outside. So it's just been so much fun to make recipes and that are easy and can store well and travel well when we go.
Nice.
I have a couple of videos on what I eat in a day camping.
Very cool. Julie says, I see that she's starting to train. As far as running goes, is the exercise component new to her?
It is. I lost all of the weight. I was barely getting in. I would say I would get a couple thousand steps in a day at the beginning. And so walking really was the only exercise I did while it was really the food that helped me lose the 70 pounds. But since it's running is so much different now than being 185 pounds. It's easier, it's more enjoyable. It doesn't feel like a chore. I find a lot of stress relief from it. So it is something new I've added in, but it definitely was at the end of my weight loss, not at the beginning.
Same here. I lost 47 of my 50 pounds without exercise, and that's terrific. Tina says, are you doing the homeless bags this year, the whole food plant-based homeless bags this year?
I'm not sure what they mean about that.
Okay.
So I'm not sure in the comment.
Okay. So Tina, please clarify what you mean by that. And a question, is your husband vegan?
He is. So he, 6 months after me, he decided to go whole food plant-based. In that 6 month period, when I went whole food plant-based, I stopped buying any animal products. I wouldn't buy cheese, and he would have it when he went out. Really was the only time, or if he wanted something, he could buy it. But I do all of the cooking for our household. He does not cook at all. So he would just eat whatever I made. So after 6 months of us eating like this, he just jumped on board as well. So he's been doing it almost the same amount of time as me.
Nice. BJ's asking to show the doggies. You don't have to do it right now, but we love having dogs on the show if they're available.
Yeah, I can grab them.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have two.
We love dogs. Maria says, how did you prepare the potatoes on your charcuterie tray?
So I just grabbed the tiny potatoes that are different colors, and I just cut them in half and bake them. And you can put a seasoning on if you'd like onion powder. I usually use onion powder, garlic powder, and smoked paprika, those three. But you don't have to put anything on them. It'll stick fine. And I just bake them in the oven until they're soft. So it's just something that I usually do while I'm getting everything else ready. It's super easy.
Nice. Do you use an Instant Pot or an air fryer? My two favorite things.
I do. I'm a little spoiled in the kitchen appliances. I have I have two Instant Pots. I have an 8-quart and I have a 3-quart. The 3-quart comes camping with us, which I kind of do more glamping than camping. And then we have a Breville Smart Oven Air as well that has the large air frying basket that I couldn't live without now.
Nice. Very good. Let's see. But I'm sorry. Oh, here's a good question from Pamela. Is there a recipe or a dish that you find yourself making most often?
I would say generally I make my oatmeal I'm pretty regular with just kind of getting the habit and then changing out the fruit of it. So I like to make oat groats, and I just eat that like oatmeal with whatever fruit. And I also get into the habit of having our chickpea salad recipes for lunch. So I just kind of crave it now. It's chickpeas, some celery, red onion. We also put in carrots, and then I like to put it on a big pile of greens and then use hummus as the dressing. And that's probably the two things that I have. Everything else changes when you're making recipes for YouTube or anything else. The food kind of is never the same for dinner. It's always something new.
Yeah. I love that you gave a shout out to oat groats, because not enough people try them, in my opinion, and they're just so much more delicious in their whole food form,
Yeah, I love them, and I get them in the bulk section at our local co-op, and they're so inexpensive and filling, and I feel like they're so easy to make in the Instant Pot that I always try to tell people. And if you can't have rice, you can make oat groats like rice, and that's just an awesome substitute as well.
It sure is. Lori says, how do you prepare your baby boy Choi? I think she means bok choy.
I just like to just cut it up, and then I like to just saute it with water, and it's just delicious and crunchy and all that. So I really don't do anything special to it, just that. And I could eat a ton of it. I just have been loving it lately. That's my favorite thing I usually have for dinner with my meals.
Well, there was a clarification. Tina said last year she remembers you saying your plant-based group did bags for a shelter or food bank.
We did 2 food drives during the pandemic for areas in Pittsburgh, and we did make plant-based bags that had beans, a starch. And so we got together. There's a group of us, about 4 or 5 of us, that help run it. And we social distance and made assembly lines of putting these bags together and raising appliances, because raising the food, because there's areas in Pittsburgh that, especially with this pandemic, need healthy food. And so we just love to be able to make those bags and deliver it and kind of share a little bit of information. We put a couple whole food plant-based info cards in each of the bags, and we did 2 of them this past spring, and we had a great response from our community making them.
Nice. Well, since you told us about your weight, maybe this question isn't so bad. What is your age?
So I just turned 30 just a couple of days ago, and I am so excited to see what my 30s have in store for me and my health, versus most of my 20s being unhealthy. And it's just, I feel so blessed to figure this out so young. It's such a gift. And anyone that's any age, even if you don't have health problems right now, I always suggest, doing the research and eating as many plants as you possibly can.
Yep. Speaking of plants, Dina says, I have 2 zucchini in my fridge right now. What would you do with them?
So lately I've been doing zucchini fritters with hash browns. So you can do this with shredded sweet potatoes or with shredded white potato or whatever potato you have. And I just mix shredded zucchini with it and then make them into little kind of like cakes and just air fry them or bake them. And they have been so good. So we also have a ton of zucchini from family members' gardens that have been kind of crazy this year. So I've been making a bunch and having them.
Nice. Debbie says, I made your pesto today. And Melanie says, Brittany is so supportive in her enthusiasm and generous with her knowledge. So thank you for the nice comments. Carol says, did taking Dr. Campbell's course help with the cooking, and how many sessions did you take?
So I did get certified through eCornell in his course, and it was more the science behind everything than the cooking aspect. I know there are a bunch of really great cooking classes you can get. Forks Over Knives has one. A couple other places have them as well. But it was more of, starting this channel, I wanted to be able to educate others correctly on different terms. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the health field at all. So I just wanted to make sure, if I'm talking about the subject, I'm doing it in a well-educated manner. So it did help me a lot with, for example, understanding about potatoes not making you gain weight and the health benefits and different aspects like that. But I highly recommend anyone take his course if you're interested in the science behind a whole food plant-based lifestyle.
Yep. Or at least read the book, right?
Yeah.
If you don't, yeah, good. So Cheryl has a great question. Anything that you do differently now to maintain your weight loss?
I think it's been so easy to maintain just because I eat kind of the same way. And also I'm eating, nutrient dense and eating the same patterns. I'm not eating out. I'm not eating oily foods. I'm not eating anything like that. And now that I've reached my goal. So it's been super easy to not gain weight and to stay the same throughout this process. And I know people talk about the pandemic gaining weight, and it hasn't been, I'm very thankful it hasn't been an issue for me.
Nice. Susan says, is there a substitute for miso in your creamy coleslaw salad?
So you can just leave it out. When I use miso, generally it's for flavor, and I follow Dr. Greger's guidelines between miso being safe for blood pressure when you're cooking. And so anytime you see miso, it's not going to make or break the recipe. You can leave it out, or you can add in a different seasoning that you like to replace that salt substitute.
Peppermint says, have you ever or would you ever consider going raw vegan? And there's no starch.
No. Yeah, I love all of my starches. And I mean, I have raw meals like my salad sometimes, but usually that has a starch that's cooked in it. So I mean, not really. I don't really worry about not being raw vegan, so probably not. But Yeah, I like oatmeal too much to give it up.
Right. Got to thank Susan Johnson for the super chat. Whenever we have a great guest, we get a lot of super chats. So thank you so much. So let's see, there was a really great question. Or what are your must-have appliances?
So the Breville Smart Oven Air, if you can afford it, is definitely totally worth it. It's been something that I feel like I can't have without now. I also recommend a good high-speed blender. I got lucky and won my Vitamix in a contest. So when I started being plant-based, I already had a Vitamix, so that was very convenient. And probably if something ever happened and I couldn't get another one, I would buy one because I use that every day. But the Instant Pot is also great. So probably those three, I would say.
Nice. Linda says, do you also care about farm animals?
I do. So I feel like being plant-based, it was at first it was all about my health, and I still stay up on the research, but I feel like as you go and find out more research, the ethical side also then becomes very much a part of your story. So it's been a beautiful way to lead me into that direction where I do consider myself vegan and plant-based.
Nice. Amy says, I love Brittany. She has simple and tasty, easy to follow recipes. She makes whole food, plant-based, sulfate-free cooking easy. And a lot of people are commenting on the lemon bars and the Frappuccino, how much they love those recipes. And let's see. And they thank you for doing the plant-based Pittsburgh. So there's, God, you have a lot of people watching. That's why the comments. Oh, Diane says, can I roast those little potatoes in the oven?
Yeah. So I didn't even air fry them. I just bake them in our Smart Oven Air. So you could definitely roast them in the oven. And there's all different sizes of the smaller potatoes you can get. And I think it's just a great way of the different colored ones. You can get some purple ones in there that I know Dr. Vigor talks about being extra good for you. So I think it's a beautiful coloring to your plant-based breakfast spread if you make the board. And we just adore all the different types that you can get at the store. It's so amazing how much variety there really is. Even the tiny ones to the ones that are kind of like finger shaped as well. So I always try to pick one of those up.
Nice. There's a question if you eat vegan butter.
No, no. When I became whole food plant-based, I feel like a lot of people ask me if I cheat or if I eat out or I'll eat oil, and the answer is no. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot of people do that, but for me it really is my health. And I think seeing so many family members so sick really does put you on like the straight and narrow path, and everything tastes amazing that I don't need to go and get like Earth Balance butter. I mean, that's there for people that want it, but it's not something that aligns with my health goals, so I just stay away from it.
I love that you're so passionate about it and dedicated to this, because I went vegan at 17, but I did it for the animals, which is great, but I didn't care at all about my health. And that's how I got obese and colon cancer. And so the fact that you have this information so young is amazing. Were you able to inspire any of your coworkers or friends, or are they just like your family, supportive, but not interested?
So since we've started Plant-Based Pittsburgh, I have a group of friends that are so amazing. I think they're watching, so I'll give a little shout out to Linda, Sally, Nadra, and Susan. They are so wonderful and they live close by. So we've started like a little tribe of people that support each other. So that's been really wonderful. And they all are so creative with their ideas. So we just share new recipe ideas and different situations like going to Thanksgiving and how difficult that can be sometimes, and tips and tricks. So that's really my tribe of my whole food plant-based community, besides my husband. And then my brother also, he lives in Las Vegas, and he is 25, and I've given him all the information. And so really seeing him take it and start making recipes and really, really care about what it can do for his blood pressure is really amazing. So that's probably the most people I've got on board with
that's
it.
Okay.
But
you're young, there's still time.
and I'm so happy to be online, because even like our YouTube channel, there are thousands of people that I have never met in person that write me saying that I made such a difference. They've got their husband on board, they've lost this much weight, they've got off their medication. And it's just such an honor. I always felt like with my channel, if I could just help one person improve their health, it's so worth it to me, and such a service that I can do for others. So the internet's wonderful because I get to talk with people like you and just people that are like-minded and want to support each other. So I'm very fortunate that YouTube has been so amazing, and I've been able to meet virtually so many awesome people as well.
Yep. Carol says, do you eat bread? And if so, what kind?
So I don't really eat bread. Sometimes we'll make like a homemade whole wheat loaf, but that's usually on a rare occasion. I would say I haven't ate bread in probably months. And really that's just because I eat all the other foods that I just don't go for it anymore. Now my husband does eat bread, and either we'll make it ourselves, or sometimes he likes to go to a bakery in Pittsburgh that makes homemade whole wheat bread as well, that's oil-free. But for me, it's just not something I gravitate towards when I try to eat as unrefined as possible, even now at a healthy weight.
Yep. You're my kind of girl, my kind of eater. Dina says, do you ever eat the plant-based processed foods once in a while, like tofurkey or day of cheese?
I don't. The most processed foods that we eat is tofu. That's probably the limit I go with it. And I just don't. I'm very set in my ways of following a lot of the plant-based doctors and what they recommend. So I just, even on like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that, I'll do something like this where it feels very special. And even like making the cookies, you can add some dates to it, something like that is where I'll go. I don't really go out about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm only meeting you today, and I love that you're like that, because I feel like if people need those foods, they're either still addicted and caught in the pleasure trap, or they just really don't love their food, because we love our food so much. I can't imagine eating that crap, which tastes terrible.
Yeah, I'm so happy like making the pesto and everything today that this is, and then you feel so good too. I feel like if I went back to eating more processed foods, it would just wreak havoc on my stomach and not feel the best. And I really want to feel the best. So I have energy to, work full time, to put all this energy into talking about being plant-based, to go out with my husband, to exercise. So really, I want to fuel my body with the best possible. And it really does make a difference.
It sure does. Lori says, what's your favorite soup?
So I really like, we have an onion soup recipe, and that's on our channel. And that's a very kind of special family recipe that I've kind of tweaked. So I would say our onion soup recipe is really, really my favorite. And I like to serve that over oat groats, or like a whole grain of some sort, like farro. So that's it's coming up on soup season pretty soon. So I'll be making more of that.
Peppermint would like to know, what supplements do you take?
So right now I take a prenatal, just because I'm of the childbearing age. And so you never know. So I do take a prenatal that's vegan, and that has, your B12, your vitamin D. I also eat sea vegetables for my iodine. So again, I try to kind of follow Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen and his supplements that he talks about. So those are the main ones that I kind of focus on, is I would say B12, iodine, and my vitamin D, since I live in Pittsburgh and it doesn't get the most sun.
You want sun? It's 120 here all week. We've got plenty of sun for you. Come visit me.
I bet it's 70, 75, I think, today here in Pittsburgh.
Oh my gosh, here's 50 degrees cooler. And look at me, I'm still wearing long sleeves. Go figure. I don't feel the heat the way other people do. And I think it's because I'm not obese anymore. It feels good to me. So it's weird. Yeah. Which sea vegetables do you eat, they're asking? Do you, any certain amount?
So I'll do nori sheets. It just depends. Nori sheets when we do sushi that I make. I'll do some dulse pieces. So usually those are the two that I kind of go between. And it's so easy, even the dulse, you just need a tiny little bit. So I just usually will just do that when I take my multivitamin.
Have you ever tried the smoked dulse? That's my favorite.
That is, I think that, let me see. I have it right here. It was recommended by my friend Heidi, and it's like a smoked dulse that is applewood smoked. So this has been my favorite. And I'm not a real big seaweed person. Like it took me a little bit, but this has been not awful, I feel. If you're just venturing into seaweed.
Right. It actually tastes not bad. There's a question if your hair changed at all when you went vegan.
I would say that it probably grows a little bit faster, which I think a lot of people are like nervous about or want to take a supplement for it. And so I'm especially since I have bangs now, I really can tell that I have to go and get it trimmed more often. I would say that it's probably growing a little bit better than before.
Cool. Lily, I think you sort of answered this question because you said you really weren't focused on weight loss. You were more focused on health. But Lily said, did you ever hit a plateau and how did you deal with it?
So definitely, my body definitely liked to get, like, for example, I started off at last time I got on the scale, I was 185, but I definitely was heavier than that because I avoided the scale for a long time before I started losing. But I would get to like plateaus when I hit like 170, 160, 150. And really, for me, it was focusing on eating as whole as possible, making sure I like wasn't eating bread or anything that was more refined, and just and doing that little tweaks of kind of assessing what you're having every day really helped me to realize that, for example, like I would kind of go more for the oat groats than the rolled oats, even for the fact that it would make me fuller. And so little tweaks like that really did help bump me and keep me going. And also being patient with yourself. I feel like a lot of the times we want to see that scale come down so quickly, and we're like, oh, we have to lose so much weight in a week or 2 weeks, and taking off that stress that I took a long time to get to this weight, and I damaged my body for so long that it's going to take, even with my blood numbers, it took a while to see it was coming down, but it wasn't like some of these documentaries where people are like, my cholesterol came down after eating like this in 3 months. Like I saw an improvement, but it still took a long time for my CRP to come down, for all of that. It was trending in the right direction, which gave me a lot of hope and fuel to keep doing that. It was working, but just being patient, I think, is something that a lot of us don't do when we're trying to lose weight.
Nice. Margot wants to know if you eat pasta, and if so, what kind?
Every once in a while, we'll get some kind of whole grain pasta. I try to always get whole grain, and so I really like spelt pasta. There's a brand that we get here at our co-op, and usually when I do that, it's more, my husband is more, he could eat like all day, every day and not gain any weight. He has been like the same weight since I met him when we were 15. So usually I'll make something for him and he will be the main person eating it. And I will take a little bit and then have it with, my big salads or something like that. So that's generally how we enjoy pasta.
Yeah, I love that you're basically unwavering with your diet. And I feel like so many people come to the whole food plant-based diet, lose weight, some or lots, and then many gain it back. But I have a feeling you're not going to do that.
Yeah, it'll be 5 years this upcoming Easter. And it's just been, I can never see myself going back. It's enjoyable. I get my blood work and it's beautiful. I feel so good that, I couldn't see myself even introducing the oils and anything back too, because I don't want to damage all the work that I've done, and I want to keep going and be healthy for my family for the long term. So this is just, it's a lifestyle more than a diet for sure for myself.
Absolutely. Well, I'm double your age. So if I'm still around doing this in 30 years, I'd like you to come back when you're 60 and see how you're doing. I mean, you don't have to wait that long, but I mean,
I would love that.
Hey, so at any chance we can say hello to the doggies before we say goodbye?
Oh yeah, I can grab them. I have two of
Isn't
them.
she
So let me
adorable,
grab them
you
real quick.
guys? And she reached out to me, and that's what you got to do to be on the show, because I have too many bad experiences reaching out to people, especially if I don't know them, even the ones that I do. So she got in touch with us, and so a lot of you had mentioned Plentiful Kiki. She got in touch with us. She's scheduled. High Carb Hannah is scheduled. So a lot of your recommendations are coming up, just like Mary McDougall was your suggestion today, but have them get in touch with us through our website. I will post our website, and please make sure you consider getting on my mailing list so that you don't miss the opportunity to have priority for your questions like today with the Mary McDougall. I hope you guys saw that interview and liked it. I had a lot of fun doing it, although I was very nervous. I always get nervous when talking to Dr. McDougall. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, so this one is Ellie. She's our girl dog, and then this is Neville. And they are so much fun and come camping with us all the time.
Well, what kind of dogs are they? They kind of look like Bailey.
They're Shih Tzus.
Oh, they're so cute. I have a gray dog. I love gray. Aw. Well, this was really fun.
They were sleeping.
I'm sorry to wake you guys up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Your presentation was beautiful, and we learned so much about you. Where would you like people to go? I mean,
so we have a YouTube channel called we have a website and a YouTube channel, and it's all under the Jaroudi family. You guys are welcome to come there. We have a free Facebook group that's just a community of people sharing ideas and recipes and kind of going through, if anyone has advice to give to each other, really a supportive group. And so those are the places, and I'm so excited to be on here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I hope to have you back again soon. And thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. We have another spectacular cooking demo tomorrow from Christine Waltemeyer, who's going to be making a rainbow slaw and a chia pudding parfait. So please come back, and you come back too, Brittany.
Thank you.